tax row has been rumbling on, with Kenneth Clarke stressing that he won't cut taxes recklessly. At the moment, we've got David Evans, the Tory MP, going on about decimalisation. Now the Minister, Angela Knight.
Madam Speaker, nobody can ask these questions as well as my honourable friend. Can I just say to him that not only do I agree with what he said, but also that as regards the attitude of the lot opposite, but also that they would impose a jobs tax on all of us. But thanks to the opt-out negotiated by my right honourable friend, the Prime Minister at Maastricht, the UK will not take part in a single currency unless it decides that it is in the interest of the United Kingdom so to do.
Questions to the Prime Minister, Mr. Hugh Dyke.
Number one, Melvin.
And this is the standard opening question.
My right honourable friend is in the Ukraine ahead of the G8 Moscow summit on nuclear safety and security.
Mr. Dyke.
Is my honourable friend aware that I agree very much with his anxieties about the need to avoid creating an unnecessarily heavy bureaucracy in London? But would he, in view of the Evening Standard's excellent campaign for the notion just of the elected mayor concept, and the fact that millions of people in London do not want this to be the preserve of one political party, or indeed more than one, would he think again about that proposal and come back with some further thoughts in due course, bearing in mind that we do need to be, like other capital cities, a famous capital city with an elected mayor?
Mr. Heseltine has said he's opposed to the idea.
My honourable friend will know that we did in government explore this particular idea, but it would be realistic to tell the House that on neither side of the House was the idea received with overwhelming acclaim. And the fact is that this opposition comes from members of Parliament, it comes from members of the local authority community, and it is quite apparent that you could only move to a directly elected mayor if you were to have a root and branch overhaul of the structure of local government in London, including the relationship between local and central government. And I do not believe that there is a public appetite for that, facing the real and urgent issues which this government is addressing with such success for London.
Mr. John Prescott.
Does the
Order.
Please. Does the Deputy Prime Minister remember the shrewd analysis he made in November 1990 that the only way to restore the fortunes of the Conservative Party was to dump Prime Minister Thatcher? And in following last Thursday's humiliation for the Tories in South East Staffs, can he tell us what's his analysis now?
Well, I am most grateful to the right honourable gentleman because I do have an analysis, and it is a new analysis. Because this week has seen three blows to the middle classes. First of all, the honourable lady for Birmingham Ladywood admits the Labour Party got to put up their taxes. Secondly, we learn that Labour are now going to tax company cars. And thirdly, the right honourable member for Hull North East has become a member of the middle classes.
That's Mr. Prescott.
I think the honourable member should recognise that it was all classes that voted for Labour in South East Staffs. But will the right honourable gentleman explain to the House that if it was right to dump Prime Minister Thatcher in 1990, when the Tories were so unpopular, why now, when they're even more unpopular, isn't it right to dump Prime Minister Major?
Because, as the right honourable member knows, it was all classes that gave this Prime Minister the biggest popular vote in the history of the Conservative Party. And it is because the conditions are now in place to secure a fifth Conservative victory with excellent economic forecasts and with improving standards in education that we shall see the present Prime Minister back in his present job after the next election.
Prescott.
But isn't the real problem for the Tories is that whatever they do won't make a scrap of difference? Because as the Daily Telegraph, the Bible of the middle classes, said today, the Daily Telegraph said today, this government is a disaster. Isn't it time he recognised that the only answer is to put him, his government and the country out of its misery and call for a general election now?
Well, not only has the right honourable member joined the middle classes, he's started reading a middle-class newspaper. But the fact is, however much one may disagree with much of the Telegraph leader today, the one thing I can agree with wholeheartedly is that they recognise that a government formed for the benches opposite would be infinitely worse.
Mr. David Harris.
David Harris.
Madam Speaker, what assurance can my right honourable friend give to the fishermen from my constituency and indeed from ports all around the coast of the United Kingdom who've come to London today and indeed sailing up the Thames now about the future of the industry? While I agree with my right honourable friend that we cannot withdraw unilaterally from the common fisheries policy and still remain a member of the European Union, would my right honourable friend agree with me that the common fisheries policy is inflicting huge damage on the industry and must be renegotiated, it must be torn up and renegotiated?
Well, my honourable friend is as well informed on fishing issues and policy as anyone in this House, and I can tell him that I have just had a word with my honourable friend, the Fisheries Minister, who is to receive a delegation from the wider delegation, which is in London today, and will be exploring the concerns that they have. There are concerns, some of them we have already addressed, to do with conservation, where we're working closely with the scientists in order to get more effective means of dealing with conservation. Secondly, we have made it clear that in the context of the IGC, we shall be raising the issue of quota hopping, and we shall listen extremely carefully to what the representatives of the fishing industry have to say.